Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my trans boyfriend after he started transitioning? Story. IEM 20 and my boyfriend, FTM 21, have been together for almost 2 years. Recently, he came out as trans female to male to me and his closest friends. Since he is still only studying and his parents aren't supportive, but I already have a job, I've offered to pay for his treatment. Some weeks ago, we talked and I told him that since I'm not into men, maybe we should break up. I offered to keep paying for his testosterone until he can pay for it himself, but he got angry and called me a transphobe. Am I really a transphobe? I tried my best to be gentle and told him we didn't need to break up immediately if he didn't want to, but just that we should probably start to slowly stop dating. Also, sorry if some of these sentences don't make sense. English isn't my first language. Response 1, NTA. Bro telling an FTM person that you don't want to be with them because they're a man and you're not gay is the least transphobic thing you can do. You're literally validating their identity. Reply 1. OP is absolutely not the a-hole, and that is coming from a trans man as well. OP, your partner came out as trans. You are being a bro and helping him out in such an astronomical way, but you are not gay. That's fine. You're doing you as he is doing him. Being trans is super rough, and a lifestyle I certainly wish was easier. This is just part of that. I'm sorry he's being stubborn on this and calling you transphobic, but you are literally validating his gender without demeaning him. He is young, as are you. I am certain he is feeling a lot of things right now. Reply 2. I also wish your life was easier. My dog groomer transitioned to FTM, and they are the first/only person I know who's trans. We had a kind of funny conversation about whether he thinks the dogs know. There are clearly some dogs that are afraid of men, so are those dogs going to be afraid of him now? What did the dogs pick up on? Probably smell, but does he smell like a man? Anyway, I'm not sure what my point is. Maybe it's just that, as a society, we can have conversations transitioning that aren't so heated or political. Sometimes it's just neat to hear about people's lives. Reply 3. I have a funny and relevant story. Ish. Anyway, my mom has an African gray parrot who hates men. She has always been a little hesitant around me. She loves ladies. She will climb off her cage and hop up to women who enter her house. It's cute. Anyway, the bird would climb down and warily skulk over to me, then wander back. After I started HRT, hormone replacement therapy, one day when I went over, the bird climbed off of her perch and made a beeline over to me and bit the hell out of my leg. My mother was surprised, but the bird has tried to murder me since every time I come over, and she is out and about. I was also at a vet's office in the waiting room, and a lady's dog was going bonkers at me while I waited for my cat. She apologized and said her dog hates men, so I think those who care about how hormones smell or other gendered markers know. Reply 4. I have a story too. My mom's cat Lola loves men. Just super effing obsessed, and while I'll ignore you if you're a woman. I started taking tea about 6 months ago, and Lola loves me now. Every time I visit, she's napping on me, chattering to me, following me, etc. It's one of the most validating things ever. Reply 5. Even before I realized I was a trans woman, I was liked more often than not by animals that weren't usually fond of men. And I'm not even on estrogen, laugh out loud. My girlfriend calls me an animal witch, as I've had a knack for getting animals to like me very quickly. Including her rabbits, not because the rabbits don't like men or anything, they just don't take to new people, quickly laugh out loud. I mostly attribute this talent to being very calm around animals, more than being trans, but it has been affirming on some occasions. Response 2. NTA. Of course, you should be accepting of his sexual/gender identity, but he needs to be equally accepting of your sexual orientation. In fact, by stopping the romantic/sexual aspect of your relationship, you are taking his new identity seriously and respecting it. Reply 1. NTA. It makes me crazy when trans people say that the parts don't matter, but they are spending tens of thousands of dollars to change the parts. Reply 2. I never understood that argument either. I'm not into guys. Why would I be into a trans guy? I'm straight and a dude is a dude. Reply 3. I'm a gay male and it drives me crazy that people call me transphobic because I don't like pussy. Live your life and be happy. Give me the same choice. Response 3. NTA, you've been extremely supportive, to the point of financially supporting them. Them expecting you to change sexual orientation isn't right. Reply 1. Validate me, but invalidate yourself. is how it sounds when a trans person expects their partner who is hetero to still somehow find them attractive, like broski. They're not gay, and they don't suddenly become bi or gay just because it's you, and you dated them prior to realizing/coming out of the closet. Reply 2. It's like they want them to be emotionally attracted to them, even if they're going to become physically unattractive to them. You can't always have it both ways. Reply 3. I have heard of this happening on a few occasions with couples where a person is transitioning and the hypocrisy from them is insane. People used to literally do this exact same thing with gay or lesbian people, implying that their sexual orientation is a choice. It is going backwards. Reply 4. I know a couple that had been together for years since college, and then the guy transitioned to MTF, and they stayed together and happily have a family, so it can happen, but obviously not necessarily everyone's experience with such a complicated topic that involves multiple people's orientations and identities. I'm just happy. They are happy. Response 4. NTA. If anything, this should be gender affirming, albeit yet a bit sad. He's a man, you see him as a man, and unfortunately you are not attracted to men. You're allowed to not want to date anyone, and you're allowed to break up with anyone for any reason. Honoring your own sexuality is a perfect reason to end a relationship. Reply 1. That was my thought. This isn't transphobic. This is, unfortunately for the relationship, being utterly trans-accepting. Response 5. NTA. The irony is, it sounds like you're embracing his new, or at least newly revealed, identity as a man. You are romantically/sexually attracted to women, and this person isn't a woman. That absolutely doesn't make you transphobic. Reply 1. In fact, by even paying for it, I think it makes you a trans ally. You want to support your ex-partner, but they can't get everything they want. Newfound identity should be appreciated sexually and emotionally by someone who is completely receptive to that identity. It's not your fault you're straight O.P, but your ex-partner is going through a lot, and the hormones can make you more emotional. So maybe you're observing the non-physical changes here of the process, but keep an eye out that your partner isn't using you/manipulating you to do anything you don't want to do emotionally, physically, and fiscally. Explain to them you are their ally, but you are straight. You are respecting and supporting their decisions, and they should do the same, because the only way you can help them with this transition is if they know your boundaries and expectations. You want them to be happy with someone who can embrace their new identity. You would not be doing so if you stay because you are attracted to women. Good luck, A.P! ! Not the a-hole. Response 6. As soon as he called you a transphobe while you're paying for his treatment, I would have stopped paying immediately. It's not even your responsibility to pay for it to begin with. Don't get taken advantage of. Not the a-hole. Response 7. NTA. My daughter went through the same thing last year with her ex. She promised to give all her support, but explained she was not gay. You did nothing wrong. Response 8. I think you said the important thing. You told him you're not into men, and this calls the future into question. You're not wrong for that. And generally speaking, when there's a reason that a couple doesn't have a future together, it's right to call it a day and break up. Response 9. Trans dude here. You're quite literally affirming his gender by saying, I'm not attracted to men, and this relationship doesn't feel right anymore. You are straight. You are not obligated to date trans men. You deserve someone you are attracted to. He deserves someone attracted to him. It's that simple. He has every right to be sad and feel his feelings, but he has no right to take it out on you and be rude. Reply 1. And if anything, OP is saving him a worse breakup by being upfront and honest. I'm pulling from personal observations, which I know aren't dogma, but I know people who came out to partners who ultimately weren't honest with them, and I've seen how that can lead to major trust issues down the line with future partners. Reply 2, absolutely. Varying emotions leads to resentment, and if that festers, it can turn ugly very quickly. OP and their STBX both deserve a relationship where they're accepted and loved to the fullest extent of themselves. I understand the frustration of the partner, as it can feel like they're being rejected, but in time he will realize that's not the case, and will grow from it. Response 10. NTA. This sort of thing is really hard, but like you said, you're not into men. Sometimes people are willing to make an exception for someone they already love, but you're under no obligation to. Response 11. You're not the a-hole. The person you've been dating is fundamentally changing. Your only obligation is to be kind about it, which you are. That doesn't make you a transphobe. Response 12. NTA. Of course you aren't a transphobe. You just don't want that kind of intimacy with another man. It doesn't light your fires, float your boat. Whatever. It sounds like you have been extremely supportive of his transition, but he is suffering from the delusion that other people's perceptions won't shift, and that's naive. If he wants to be a man, then fine. But it's also fine if you only want intimate relationships with women. That's what you want. You know who you are and what you want. He's still working through that on a very basic level. I really have a hard time wrapping my head around wanting to be a man and then going off on another man who only desires a heterosexual relationship. It's not as though it should be a surprise to them that you like girls. Reply 1. You can also be a trans man while being gay. This might be adding a double layer of confusion to OP's SOO.P, don't allow your SO to demand you change your sexuality because it shouldn't matter. It does matter. Reply 2. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, and this is a big stretch. But I'm wondering if O.P S boyfriend sees it as an attempt to force them into not transitioning. Like OP said, I'm not attracted to men, so I think it's best if we break up. And O.P S boyfriend heard, I'm dumping you unless you stop transitioning. OP is completely in the right, though. They're respecting their partner's identity while not compromising their own orientation. Response 13. NTA and not a transphobe. In fact, you are the opposite. He decided to transition into male. You're not into other men, so why would even be a surprise? You are fully accepting his decision to change his gender. As for paying for his treatment, that's on him now. Response 14. NTA. Your FTM partner is. Just because they're on a journey to transition doesn't mean you should want to be a part of it. Playing the transphobe card is unwarranted here. But hey, if someone sees themselves as the victim, they'll play a victim card. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. And if you're just simply straight, that's who you're attracted to. You should break up sooner rather than later. And honestly, you should stop paying for their treatments, their journey, their responsibility. I'd see it in the same vein as paying for a partner's education. Once you break up, or at least drifted apart so much that you're no longer compatible, it stops being your burden to finance their lifestyle or education, or both. Response 15. By that logic, every woman you aren't interested in could scream misogyny. Not being attracted to someone is not a hate crime. Response 16. In no situation would you be a transphobe for not wanting to date a trans person. The bottom line is that what they are / want to be, however you look at it, is not what you find yourself attracted to. Therefore, you are not the a-hole for not wishing to continue that relationship. Response 17. NTA. They have moved the goalposts. This person wants to be a man and referred to as a man. Then you as a person of closeness would wholeheartedly treat them as a man, which includes not wanting an intimate relationship with a man. Response 18. NTA. Ironically, you're actually the opposite of a transphobe. You're acknowledging him as a man. You don't want to be with a man. You're literally still being supportive, but you don't want to date him. That's literally the best possible response. By the way, I'm a trans man myself. Response 19. NTA, it's important to respect your own sexual preferences and boundaries. Offering to support your ex transition financially shows that you care about their well-being, even if the relationship didn't work out. Don't let anyone label you as a transphobe. You're just being true to yourself. Response 20. Is this bait? You have one post on an account you made today, and the post is specifically designed to make a trans person sound bad.